Good morning, everybody. Matt Modi here to give you my favorite MLB home run predictions for today. We are talking Thursday, September 4th. Happy NFL opening night, everybody. But we're talking dongs in this video. I'm going to have 6 total home run predictions for you guys to lock in. I'm spraying the board with 6, but if you only want to lock in the favorites, I'll give you my 3 favorites as well. Unfortunately, yesterday was not good. 8 total players on Dong Watch yesterday. 0 for 8, down 1.2 units. The only one that I really have any legs to complain about was Bryce Terang, who probably could have had an inside the park home run, but he stopped on third base. And then he also smoked a double, like 387 feet yesterday as well. Nobody else really came that close, so I can't really complain that much. But Terang really thought he was going to come through for us again. On the entire year, that yesterday's loss brings our total profits to about 6.7 units up on the year, just under 5% ROI. Hopefully, we can get this number above 10 before the end of the season. That's kind of what I'm hoping. I will say I'm not going to have a Dong report video tomorrow because I have to travel out of town for a wedding. But those of you on my Tails account, those of you that are signed up, I'll still send plays out, and then I'll also send them out on Twitter as well. So you will be able to get them, just not going to be on YouTube. Of course, I'm going to have NFL stuff though, so we're good there. Regardless, the slate today, it's small. There are 2 games in the green. I have a couple plays here at Steinbrenner Field. Nothing in the Brewer Stadium. And then I have actually 2 plays in these bottom 2. You know, I kind of talked to some people that also use Ballpark Pal and look at the weather. Anything that's not in the red is playable. Obviously, you want games that are like Steinbrenner Field that are in the green. But as long as it's not horrible, then those are playable. And the Kauffman Stadium one, from a weather perspective, is actually really good. Kauffman Stadium just stinks for home runs. And then from a weather perspective, Target Field isn't that bad. That's according to Ballpark Pal. You look at Weather Edge, and they mostly are in agreement. They have the Royals game as green from a weather perspective. Twins game slightly in the red, also worrying about storms in that one as well. And then the Brewers, they might end up closing the roof. So regardless, best game of the day is the Steinbrenner Field one. And that's where we're going to start. I'm going to have 2 plays in this game. Junior Caminero to hit a home run, and I'm taking Kyle Manzardo as well. I like both of them a lot to hit home runs. Junior is going to be the squarest play on the board. You're probably going to see everybody on Junior, and for good reason. I mean, you look at what he did yesterday. He did not hit a home run. 111 off the bat, double, 395 feet. That's brutal that's not a home run. 108 off the bat, granted it was a ground out, negative launch angle, so nothing that exciting there. But then another hit just below 100 miles an hour at 99.7 miles per hour, and just needed to get a little bit of a higher launch angle. But that's 3 hard hits for Junior Caminero yesterday. One of them probably should have been a home run. And then you look at the total, every player in the MLB, in terms of, I'm looking at hard hits over the last 7 days. Look at Junior Caminero, tied for the second most. He's in the top 4 with 15 hard hits over the last 7 days. That is fantastic. 3 barrels is a little bit low. You'd like those barrel numbers to be higher, but that's still acceptable. Really, as long as they've got 2 barrels over the last week, I'm good with that. You look at the last 14 days for Junior Caminero, he's got the 3rd most hard hits with 26. And you look at barrels, guess what? He's tied for the league lead in barrels over the last 2 weeks. So the hard hits have been fantastic for 2 straight weeks. The barrels were better on the latter half of the 2 weeks, but still good over the last week. So there's so much to like for Junior Caminero. The pitcher is a pretty good matchup. Logan Allen is pitching for the Guardians. He's really struggled against right-handed bats. He's a lefty, and that's important, which we're going to talk about. Super low strikeout rate, which I love to look at because it means the ball is constantly in play. Barrel rate of 9% is bad. Hard hit rate of just below 45% is below average. Line drive rate is high. Fly ball rate is relatively low, but with a high line drive rate, we're good with that. Again, he's a lefty. And you look at the entire year, Caminero has good numbers against left-handed pitching. 262 ISO rate is pretty good with a barrel rate of 11.8%. Those are good numbers. But you look at the last 30 days against lefties, 26% barrel rate and a 500 ISO rate. So he has demolished left-handed pitching over the last 30 days. And that's what he's going to see. It's a plus 10 extreme advantage in favor of the hitter, according to Ballpark Pal. A matchup for the hitter, D matchup for the pitcher. That's not good Ballpark Pal likes the matchup. So that's play number 1 and also the first of my 3 favorites. I'm also rolling with Kyle Manzardo to hit a home run as well. He not as hot at the plate as Junior Caminero. Granted, not a lot of batters are, but he's been hitting well. You look at him over the last 2 weeks, 5 barrels, 21 hard hits. That's pretty good. You look at him over the last 7 days, 3 barrels, 11 hard hits. That's also pretty good. So hitting well recently, got 3 home runs over the last week as well. I love the fly ball rate and the pull rate. I love the fact that he's a left-handed hitter playing at Steinbrenner Field. Obviously, that didn't help us yesterday, but generally, you want to take lefties with a high pull rate at Steinbrenner Field because Steinbrenner Field has that short right field porch, which I talk about all the time. The pitcher that is going up against Ryan Pepio, aka Pepe Le Pew, is honestly not terrible. You look at him over the last 5 weeks, home run allowed every 22 at-bats. He actually is slightly better against lefties. Some numbers are decent, some numbers are not decent. What I really don't like for him is the fly ball rate and the hard hit rate are pretty high. That's over the last 5 weeks. You look at the entire year for him, and it's about the same. So, admittedly, he seems like a better matchup for right-handed hitters. I mean, he is, but he's also not really anybody you should be totally scared of off of a lefty either. And with the way Manzardo's been hitting in a good weather home run situation, I like him. That's play number 1 and 2, again, with Caminero as the first of my 3 favorites. Next up, I got 2 players in the Angels game, Zach Nato, aka Sharknado, and Joe Adell, taking both of them to hit a home run. Nato is the second of my 3 favorites. So with the Angels, they're going up against a lefty, Noah Cameron. You look at them recently, we're looking at the Angels here. How have they performed against left-handed pitching? Both Nato and Adell have been annihilating left-handed pitching recently. 579 ISO rate's ridiculous for Nato. 571 for Adell. You look at barrel rate, Nato at 36% is ridiculous. 18% for Joe Adell. 81% hard hit rate for Nato. 54% fly ball rate. Just fantastic numbers. Granted, he does strike out more, so you will have to worry about the ball not being in play as much. Like, he's literally double the strikeout rate of Joe Adell, but those numbers are still fantastic. And Noah Cameron, the pitcher for the Royals, he's a decent pitcher. Like, I'm not going to say he's bad or anything like that, but you look at his numbers on the year. Home run allowed every 30 at-bats to righties. That's a good number. Like, if you see that, that's generally not a pitcher that you want to target. You look at the last 5 weeks, he's been slightly worse. Every 22 at-bats. Super, super low strikeout rate. Granted, like, the barrel rate and the hard hit rate are decent, but the line drive and the fly ball rate are pretty high. And both of these batters on the Angels are hitting very well. You look at them over the last 7 days. They both have 4 barrels. 6 hard hits for Nato is a little bit low, but the barrels is good. And then 4 barrels as well for Adell is very good with the 8 hard hits. Both of them doing a fantastic job putting the ball in the air. Nato doing a fantastic job pulling the ball, which is very important because when you pull the ball, you don't need to hit it as far. So, batters with a high fly pull rate is very, very important. Nato's doing a fantastic job of doing that. You look at them at the plate yesterday. Now, Adell has homered, I think, 2 days in a row. So I know some people aren't going to like that. Nato none of them had an incredible day yesterday. Nato, no hard hits, but you see how he's been barreling the ball up recently, so I'm cool with that. And then Adell had the 1 hard hit yesterday that was a home run that he got a hold of. 418 feet for Joe Adell is pretty impressive. So I do like going with both of these players on the Angels. Even though I don't like the stadium at Kauffman, the weather today is pretty good. Slight winds blowing out. It's sunny, and there's low barometric pressure, which is going to help with carry. So all that stuff is going to make it so that the stinky stadium is going to be a little bit more reasonable for home runs. That is play number 3 and 4, with Nato being the second of my 3 favorites. And then the last 2 plays are in the Twins White Sox game. I'm going with Byron Buxton and Colson Montgomery. Montgomery is the third of my 3 favorites. You look at him, admittedly, he has not been fantastic recently. Granted, he's been in and out of the lineup. What I do like about Colson Montgomery is he has seen Taj Bradley a couple times before. And look at these at-bats. Home run back in July 23rd. Home run back on August 24th. And then another flyout. Granted, it wasn't like that flyout was never going to be a home run. But it was still it, it was still, it was put in the air, is what I'm trying to say. The exit velocity was low, but at least he put it in the air. Taj Bradley has been really, really struggling recently. You look at him, home runs over the last 5 weeks. He's not been good. Home run allowed every 19 at bats, every 20 to lefties, every 18 to righties. Granted, it's a small sample size, but it has not been good for him. Look at the entire year for Taj Bradley. Home run allowed every 24 at bats to lefties is not terrible. Numbers across the board are okay, but he really just hasn't been able to get it together recently. And Colston Montgomery, like I said, he's been in and out of the lineup. So you look at his numbers, they're not going to be fantastic, but 2 barrels, 7 hard hits without playing every single day over the last week isn't terrible. And then you look into his game logs. Yesterday wasn't good. I'll give him that. But the day before, 3 hard hits. The day before that, or 2 barrels in a row the day before that. Then a couple days in a row, not so great. And then 3 hard hits, barrel. 2 hard hits, barrel. 3 hard hits, barrel. So, yeah, those are really good numbers, coupled in with a couple not so good games, but that's fine. And then Buxton. So the pitching matchup for the White Sox is interesting. Frazier Ellard, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. He's technically listed as a starter. He's an opener. He's only going to go 1 or 2 innings. Game Day Insights has Shane Smith as the primary for this game. I don't know if that's the case or not. If it is, that's a good sign because Smith allows, granted he's worse against righties, but he allows a lot of home runs, or excuse me, worse against lefties. In the last 5 weeks, he's really been struggling. Home run allowed every 19 at bats over the last 5 weeks. But regardless, this is more of a play backing Buxton, who's been fantastic. You just look league wide, total barrels over the last week. Guess who's tied for second with a total of 5 batters with 5 or more? Byron Buxton. 12 hard hits over the last 7 days as well is very good. You look at the last 14 days for Buxton, not quite Caminero numbers, but 1 of 4 batters with 9 or more barrels over the last week. He's got 4 home runs over the last 2 weeks, 23 hard hits. Like, those numbers are really, really good. And the pitching matchup is kind of an unknown, but it's more so, like I said, backing a hot batter. In a game yesterday where not a lot of the bats did anything, he had a pretty good day. You look at him yesterday, he had 2 hard hits. He had a double, 108 miles an hour off the bat. Then he had a triple, 98 miles an hour off the bat. Just a little bit of a higher launch, or excuse me, a little bit of a faster EV. And this is a home run, but a triple and a double in the same game is pretty good with 2 hard hits. So all in all, I like these players a lot. Really with Montgomery, I love the price. He's offered at plus 500 odds at DraftKings, but that's all we got. So smaller slate today means not as many home run predictions. 6 for you guys to lock in. I'll do a recap and then we'll get on out of here. It's Junior Caminero, plus 320 at Bet365. He is the first of my 3 favorites. It's Kyle Manzardo in that same game at plus 460 Fanatics. I think this moved to plus 440. I would still take it there. Colson Montgomery, the second of my 3 favorites, and also the juiciest odds at plus 500 at DraftKings. Buxton, 365 Fanatics. Joe Adele, 375 ESPN Bet. And then Zach Nato, a.k.a. Sharknado, as the third of my 3 favorites, plus 420 sick number at FanDuel. And that's all we got. Reminder, not going to have a Dong Report video the rest of the weekend, but we'll still send plays out to what you're currently looking at, which is my Tails account. I appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Make sure to bet responsibly and have a good one.